Booty butt, shake a booty butt, shake a booty butt. Booty, 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 booty butt. Booty butt, shake a booty butt, shake a booty butt. Booty, 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 booty butt.
I think that he liked him as a person, as an individual. Like there was nothing that was wrong.
The question is, how did your father think about him for you?
He didn't think it was the ideal relationship for me, but he liked the guy.
All right. And then what about the relationship before that one? What's the longest relationship you had before that one? Here we go.
Maybe 2 years.
Okay.
And that was when I was a little younger, and I don't really remember involving my parents much. I was like probably 23.
Okay. And then what about before that? When I was younger, understand, most people are getting married around this age, but to a lot of black people, 20 to 23 is just so young. Pay attention.
Nothing that I would call serious.
So,
just like
so you were 23 with the previous relationship, 23 to 25?
No, actually, I wasn't. I was 20 to 23, I think.
So 20 to 23.
Yeah,
that's 3 years. Okay, 20 to 23. So you had a 3-year relationship and a 4-year relationship.
Yeah, because I turned 21 in that relationship.
So listen. So this is what I'm about to say. You didn't involve your family in that 3-year relationship.
No.
That's why your father was not a dominant man. There's no way a 20-year-old woman should be in a 3-year relationship at 20 years old and her family ain't involved in none of this stuff. Then you turn around, then you turn around at 29 and you live a 4-year or 28 and have a 4-year relationship. You've had 2 long-term relationships. That is part of that only child thing.
The keeping it to yourself or the length of time?
Well, several things, ma'am. Several things. But unfortunately, this happens to a lot of black women, only child or not. It's not uncommon to hear black women in their mid 30s who've had several suitable men. There's no way you can be with somebody for 3 years if he's not suitable.
Well,
there's no way you can be with somebody for 3 years if they're not suitable. You may want to go back and revise history, but this ain't my first rodeo. And what I'm saying
I see your point.
Well, yeah. And the thing is,
don't count my first one though. That wasn't suitable.
I'm counting your first and it was 3 years. Some of the things that you notice about women who are in the danger zone, they're combative, they're argumentative, they have a need to be right, they overtalk you, and in general, they are too old to mold. Too old to mold. Shout out to Mr. Jap. That's his. Too old to mold. You're going to notice this start to rear its head more and more. And if you go back through my catalog, if you listen to women who are 27 to roughly 37, but 27 and 35 for the day, in the danger zone, plug and play.
Wasn't suitable. Take my word for that. But I learned, and then I decided, like, hey, let me get into something that's a little bit more.
You've learned that. Let me challenge that. You've learned, right?
Well, I learned from the first one to the second one to try to be. I just kind of continued to try to hone in. So you've had a 3-year and a 4-year, but you still, you're still in charge. But you're still in charge of who you're going to date the next time, and you still have had no therapy. I'm considering it because my friend's having a lot of positivity with it, and I used to want to be a psychologist.
Considering it means no.
No, I would. I actually would.
Brittany, listen. Nobody sees your picture. No one sees your face. But what I'm saying is, you've been in charge of the last 2 long-term relationships that you picked men who were not suitable, not on the level of being a provider, lifestyle, whatever you say, you've picked them with no input from any other man. You've listened to a bunch of other women who have no track record of success with men, and you're still in charge of this process. You have not gone to sit down with a counselor to understand what's going on with you because you keep picking these people. I'm telling you that you need therapy. That's not an insult. But you're 33. But you're 33 years old. You have no time to waste. If you want 2 children, even if you met the man tomorrow, why don't you have any time to waste? Why don't she have any time to waste? Because she's in the danger zone. We don't have any time to waste. It'll take 6 months before you're married. If you got pregnant on your wedding day, you may be kicking one kid out by age 34 and a half or 35. Your second child would be high risk.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to, and if you don't, but you're not talking like you're doing anything about it. And if you're in LA, the cost of living is not inexpensive. If you want to take off until they're school age, or what, till they're kindergarten? Till they go to kindergarten or first grade? Which one?
No, I don't think I'll be able to do first grade.
But what would you want?
Maybe like maybe preschool.
Preschool, which is what?
So I think that's like 3 or 4.
Oh, preschool can be anything, but okay. Let's just say 3 or 4. If you want to have 2 kids, that's still 5 years out of work.
Yeah.
That's still 5 years out of work in LA. So that means you're gonna need somebody in LA. It's gonna make it around 2 kids, 400, close to $500,000 a year in LA for you not to work for 2 years, for 5 years. What are the chances of you meeting a guy who's making $300,000 a year in LA?
Well, the family that I do know who stayed home, who are about my age, they don't stay home and live that kind of a lifestyle. They do a lot of couponing. They cut corners.
Ma'am, I have clients in LA, and I've thought about moving to LA. LA, the cost of living is on par with New York City. It's expensive.
Well, I have family. My
ma'am,
cousin
but
who's
we're
a year
talking
older,
about
she
you
told
and
me to move to Texas. I don't know.
So let's throw one more freaking thing into the fire. See how you're all over the board. Let me think what you just said.
Listen. It's just when you get to a certain age, you get a lot of opinions.
No, well, how about this? You got a lot of opinions. Why do you get so many opinions? Why do they get so many opinions when you get to a certain age? Because I'm in this jet wash. You're in the jet wash, ma'am. You're in the jet wash. Pull up. How about this?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. That's why you're all over the place. You don't listen to your father because he's not going to point you in a direction because he's just hands off. He's watched you drive your relationships into 2, a 3 year and a 5 and 4 year ditch. That's not what your father wants for you. But apparently
he's concerned with religion. So
whatever he's not doing, he's not concerned with helping you. Maybe he knows that you ain't gonna listen to him.
I think that's probably right.
Well, I know because you're a stubborn, bullheaded, only fucking child.
Yeah, probably.
I know. No, probably.
I will.
That's another reason why you're by yourself. You're a pain. You will be a pain you'll be a good girlfriend, but you'll be a horrible long-term wife because you're hard-headed. Time's running out for. This is what the therapy's for, man. See? Because I'm just running the numbers. I'm running the numbers. See, when you're in the danger zone, see that clock right there? Time's running out for you. When she talking and she arguing, well, maybe. No. You acting like you got all the time in the world, but well, coupons. There ain't enough fucking coupons to cut to bring down the cost of living in LA. Well, move to Texas. So let me get this right. You're gonna meet a guy who can have you staying at home, and all of a sudden he gonna move from California, LA, and have that job there. That makes no sense.
No, like she was telling me I should. Now that I'm
Who's
single,
she? Who's she?
My cousin who is a stay-at-home mom, but she lives in Texas. She was telling me like
your cousin is stay-at-home mom is okay, but she
was saying LA is not the place.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you something. Let me ask you a direct question. When you're talking to men in your life, in just day-to-day life, do you overtalk them?
Depends on if I like them or not. I'll be honest.
Is that
romantically? Not romantic. Day-to-day, yeah.
How about this? Romantically? So how about this? How would you, honestly, do you think that's rude?
To overtalk?
A man, yes.
I know they don't like it.
What about it? What if a guy just...
No, it's rude.
What about it? But see, you can overtalk a woman because there's no threat of anything. See, in a state of nature, what happens when a female decides to get too aggressive or try to dominate a male?
They assert their dominance.
Right. So only in this country have we, in this westernized world, have men been restricted to not knock the furniture out your mouth. When you continue to overtalk a man, especially even on his show, I don't care if you're romantic or not, you're still trying to overtalk me to where I had to mute you. That's rude. But that's par for the course when you are requesting a flyby. No, you're too old. The pattern's full. Oh, batch. And you know it is.
Sorry.
Would you do that with a white man?
I don't know. I never thought about that.
Really?
Probably.
Really? So when you're at work, where do you work? You work as a real estate agent?
Yeah, but I did work in corporate before, so I was in that dynamic before.
Right. So you overtalk white men that way too?
That's what I was going to say. Strangely, all of my managers and stuff were women. I don't think I've ever had a male manager.
Again, and then your father sounds like he was very hands off. I'm going to be polite.
He's very hands on, but I understand what you mean.
Negative, Strag Rider. The pattern is full. Negative, Strag. The pattern is full. Fly on over to Spinster Air Base. The pattern is full.
As far as in certain areas of your life being
How about this? How about this? Even you're still trying to be right. I don't care if you're a whole headache. Whole headache. You ain't got to worry about being married, especially to a man that's going to be able to provide and let you stay at home. The best you're going to get is working. If you get lucky and find a man. Don't no man want to hear this. And this is what I want to focus on. For the ladies who are officially all up and through the danger zone, you know you have not prioritized marriage. You have wasted your prime years. You're now in the danger zone. Why do you feel like you should get a high value man? You are lucky to get a man. Shout out to Rebecca Lynn Pope. You're lucky to get a man. But yet you still think you should get a high value man and have the same negotiating and leverage you did when you were a younger woman. But no, you can't do that when you're your age. You ran the time out because you understand why that's not good enough for you, because you look at your body and it's not what it was when it was 21. You know you don't bounce back. You are in your late 20s and early 27 is the beginning of the danger zone. Most of these women are like 32, 33. Go back over my videos and listen to all these women, how hard they sound, how difficult they are to talk to. Most people would have put a bullet through, gone pew pew, and got ghost left long before most people. Like, I don't know how you talk to them people, because somebody needs to, and I have the patience. Most guys say they'd have been like, they would have been out. They're like, I'm not going to talk to these women. When I see somebody in the danger zone, I am gone. How old are you? 32? Peace. Matter of fact, that's what got me in a hot water with a lot of people. When I just merely said I prefer to date women under 30, it was like, Why? Because this is what you get. You get a lot of this. I'm going to be honest. Don't man want to hear this. You think you got it all together. You want to tell me what your cousin who's married. I don't want to hear what some married woman in Texas say.
Shush. I'm just trying to give you some perspective.
I don't give a shit about your perspective. You can't even get your life going right. Why do I need to hear your perspective? Has it worked for you? How's that working for you?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Me.
How's that working for you?
What?
How's your perspective working? How's your perspective in trying to get me right on all the nuances? How's that working for you? Have you ever dated a man? Have you ever dated a man who is a high earner, not rich yet? Have you ever dated a man who's well off, got his stuff together, knows where he's going, and in charge of his life?
No.
I wonder why.
Well, by my standard, I think you would agree, though. I'm assuming you'd agree.
Did you hear that? No, I've never dated a Henry by my standards, as if by any standard you get them. Then I said, I wonder why. Do you think a high earner, not rich yet, would put up with this?
Like me talking a lot? Not unless he's
not talking a lot. You being combative. You wanting to be right on the argument. That only is more than only child. We've gone far past only child. You've gone into typical black female fuckery, honestly. You've gone smooth into it. There's a reason you're 33 and chronically unmarried. It's not because you're not attractive and can get a man to say, I will be seen in public with you. It's just you can't get a quality man.
Like finding some good examples to try to kind of get an idea of how they operate so you can kind of see like the differences. Like, okay.
Why do you think that works?
Examples?
Yeah, finding examples? Why not? Okay. You're 33. You're not 23. You're acting like you got all the time in the world.
No, I don't think that.
So you're still trying to do it the slow way. Why? Here's a question. Have you ever thought about going to sit down with a therapist?
That's interesting. I actually thought I was doing it the fast way. That's the slow way?
That was a question. Did you hear it?
But I don't have a problem with therapy. I think it's
there
a
was
good
a
idea.
Question. So Big Head Bean, the chick that joined my channel, did you hear me ask her a question? Even after I brought it to her attention, Big Head, see that stands for Big Head Bean. Big Head Bean. Did you hear when I brought it to her attention that you're over talking me? You cut me off. I'm trying to run a show. You're not stopping. When I ask you a question, you don't answer it. You notice that was like 10 minutes ago? You notice she's still doing it? Is that rude? Big Head Ben? Being Grim? Fantastic Four? Is that rude? I want to hear you say this woman has been rude. Because if you don't, ma'am, you are disingenuous. And at this point, I don't have to play nice with you. Because if all you hear is me being rude and you think there's nothing wrong with this, oh, get your big head up on here. And see, the polite thing to do is to answer a question and not answer it with another question. See, that's polite. Did you hear the question?
Can you repeat it for me?
Exactly. Or was what? Or no. What did you think? What did you think I said?
Why haven't I considered going to a therapist at this point at 33?
I said, have you ever considered going to therapy? Yes.
I haven't pulled the.
No, guys, don't time her out. I want her to write everything she can in the chat room so I can dissect each and every one of them. Talk about a high value man disrespecting women. Keep letting her tie the noose around her big head neck. See, when you got a big head like that, it's hard for most people to put a noose around your neck so you think your neck is protected. No, I got a big noose because I'm used to big heads like you. Keep talking, big head.
Trigger, but maybe is that the fast way?
Why haven't you pulled the trigger?
Let me think about that for a second. Why haven't I pulled the trigger? I guess I guess I just figured that's something you do when you get to a different stage in your life, like maybe when you want to be more reflective.
So in other words, therapy's not a proactive thing. She's not reflective enough to look at any of this. You only do therapy if you're more reflective. What she's really saying is, ain't nothing wrong with me. That's what she's really saying. Only people who need to go to therapy are people who are crazy. Parse through the words, that's what she's saying. And unfortunately, that's why so many of our sisters feel this way. But then they look down to the reality of their left ring finger and it tells a different story.
I never considered.
You mean when you get too old to do anything? You mean when you get too old and you fucked up too much to do anything about it?
Well, maybe, yeah. I guess I always thought of therapy as something you do kind of to like unpack, you know?
So, I never thought of it as you think you, so basically you feel like you're just normal and even keeled and everything's A-okay.
Well, I think it depends on where I want to be.
No, ma'am, that's a very simple question. It depends on where I want to be. See, when I ask you a very simple question, it always comes down to this. Well, it depends on where you want to. At 33 years old, did you think you would be here, unmarried, no prospects? That's a yes or no. That's a yes or no.
I am an overthinker.
That's a yes or a no.
No.
That's a yes.
I would say overall no.
That's a no.
No. No.
So if you're not where you thought you would be, is that not a problem? That's a yes or no question again.
If you're not where you thought you'd be, is that a problem?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say so.
All right. So if you had a destination, if you had a goal, a destination, and you said, we're going to get there by a certain time, and you look up and you're not anywhere, you're nowhere close to your goal. At what point?
That's a problem.
Right. So you had a 3-year relationship that you don't even want to count. That's a problem that you don't even want to count that. You involved nobody else and you jumped right back on the carousel and decided to ride around again and then pick somebody else who was 10 years older than you and took another 4 years and then jumped back off.
Right, right.
At what point do you realize that you're not the best picker of men? And maybe instead of trying to look at videos and just talking to this woman, talk to that woman, you need somebody to get all these overthinking things in your head out on paper. Because all this overthinking, it ain't done shit for you.
Well, yeah, or at least it'll give me someone else to ramble to, right? Before I go home.
Well, you're not going to ramble, you're going to pay.
Right. That is true.
Yeah, you're going to pay. That's what you need to, because the people who will listen to this shit for free are either more screwed up than you or extremely bored. But you don't have time to waste. See, I'm making light of it, man. You're 33. You're going through life thinking this is fast. No, you got 2 years before your eggs is old. She's 33. Want to have 2 kids. She act like she got all the time in the world. This is a fast way. This is a slow way. I mean, just took
my
2
new
years.
Plan.
But you can't make a new plan with old eggs, man. You got 2 relationships in 7 years. That's a problem. You shouldn't have had the next one. You should have figured something out, man. You should have involved somebody else. And that's why I said the other day, so many of our sisters are out here just making decisions on their own, not asking anybody, keeping the counsel of women, and you pick poorly. I'm telling you right now, man. Right. First thing, you're an only child. That is an issue in and of itself. Number one. Number two, you're over 30. You're 33. You have passed what is called the wall in dating and mating. Most women over 30 are too difficult to really adjust or change. There's a thing called too old to mold. It requires a woman over 30 to be proactive in changing. She's past the age to where a guy can actually teach, mold, or help her. That's why guys your age go get younger women and skip right on over you, except for Netflix and chill.
So are you saying that like, so if you're basically for me, you're saying if I need guidance, the best thing to do now would just be to get therapy, talk it out, maybe try to find somebody who understands what my goals are, and maybe get a man so they could be like,
well, let me ask you a question.
Or
this
a male
way.
therapist.
Let me answer your question this way. How many men do you have to talk to about this?
Just a few.
How many?
Maybe see if my
you who?
Maybe like that I would really talk to you about it. Just two, like my grandfather and then my dad. Probably would be it.
Holy shit! She said her father, your grandfather, and your father. You didn't talk to your father. You got nobody to talk to. None. You talk to a bunch of women.
So yes, I do.
Exactly, and that's why you're alone. And that's why you're alone. So to answer your own question, talking to a bunch of women has got me by myself.
So that's the first thing that should go, is talking to women. So that's the first thing.
No, ma'am. The first thing you need to do is realize you got a problem inside your head. And that's not a problem. You need to sit down and talk to somebody. Black folks in this country, we need therapy like a mug. But you think you can figure this out on your own? Number one, I'll tell you what I tell my female clients. The reason I don't work with women as much anymore. Therapist, personal trainer, image consultant, matchmaker. That's what you older women need. And you're an older woman when it comes to marriage. Let me make that clear. You're an older woman when it comes to marriage. You're not a young woman.
I see. So you're saying basically
you're an older woman when it comes to marriage. You should have been married 10 years ago.
So adopt a new plan.
There's no adopt a new plan either. See, you
follow an older woman's plan.
Ma'am. You don't. Okay. Let me say this again. Let me ask you this question. When have you ever followed a man's lead?
These are good questions because I've never heard them before.
Exactly, because you hang out with a bunch of batches.
I'll follow a lead in a relationship, but
that was so rude.
Your point,
oh, you mean hold on, let me get this right. You'll follow the loser's lead?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Your point, once I start to feel like, I don't think you're leading me right, then I will
hold on. Is it your nature role to lead?
No.
So how
do you know that?
So how do you know if he's leading you right? You didn't even let your father lead you. See? This is why.
That's what I'm trying.
Listen. Okay, I'm going to the next call, ma'am. Listening to you, realistically, this whole married, stay at home, that's not going to happen. 72% of American women with children under 18 have to work full time. You're going to be in that.
Right.
If 1 in 4 black women get married. Okay.
Right.
Getting married would be astronomical right now for where you're coming from. You're all over the place. And when I say you need therapy to get out of your own head. That just means to live a decent life. But to deal with a man?
Whole different ball.
Well, and the reality is, if you're in LA is the land of men with money. If they aren't approaching you, there's a reason. I mean, if you had to rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 on looks, not your body, just your looks, and you can't use 7, what would you rank yourself?
Just average girl, regular girl. I don't know what the number scale would be.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. An average girl. Thank you. I'm glad she at least did that. But why would anybody who would want to deal with this amount of issues? And the point is, why am I focusing on this? Because you're 33. When you're See, you're the most intelligent group of women on the planet and strong and all. At what point do you self-reflect and realize it's not working? Not working. And here's the thing. I'm talking and talking. She would not. I'm like, Jesus, did you ever want her to say, well, thank you for your time. I know you got other callers to get to. I want you guys to notice, how many times have you heard her say, thank you for your time? I know you got a show to run. 6, 8, 9, or 10. Jesus Christ.
I don't know what the numbers mean. Just regular, whatever. What's regular? What's average?
1, 2.
What number constitutes regular, average?
You went to school in the United States of America. You know what a 0 to 10 scale is.
I do, but not when it comes to rating your own personal looks.
Are you like
a 5? Is 5 like 5's right down the center? So is that?
Would you rank yourself as 5 is right down? 8?
Like middle.
8 is pretty. 9 is beautiful. 10 is gorgeous. There is no 7 because most women like you would rank yourself a 7. Right down the middle would be closer to your cutesy. But then again, how tall are you?
I'm short. I'm only 3.
And what dress size you wear?
Just a 4, which I think is kind of average.
Okay. All right. So right there, you're a normal sized woman, an average looking woman. That means you get average man, making average money, living an average lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's rude. So I don't understand what you're talking about.
That's good for me.
But you don't. But the last guy you said he was making more money than you.
Yeah, but that wasn't the issue of the money. It was more of just I don't really think he was serious about wanting to have kids and things like that. And obviously I don't have a lot of time. Well, listen, if you don't want to move to that range or you've changed your mind, then
I would say this.
Cut my losses, I guess.
Here's where it comes ultimately down to. I've tried to kind of go around it, but average, and that's not a bad thing.
No.
At 33 years old, you got a lot of things going on in your head. I mean, this conversation has been kind of like herding cats. I'm gonna tell you right now, the guys who are like that high earner, go-getter, ambitious, purpose-driven they're not going to do all this with you.
Okay.
They're not going to. Men don't talk this much typically. I have a show and I get paid to do this, but this is exhausting. And you're probably just having a high old good time thinking this is just good fun, and it's fucking exhausting. Right. There's no amount of sex that you could give me after this to make this worthwhile. There's not a good enough meal that you could cook to make this worthwhile.
Now I see what you're saying.
And what I'm trying to say in a reasonable way possible is you have to be able to see your own outcomes and do something about it. And the way you're talking about doing it is, I'm just going to get information from a guy on YouTube.
No.
But you mean no? Yes, that's what you did.
I was calling in on the change.
Listen, but the point is, I know, man, but we've gotten down a further path, and everything that you that could actually help you and push the ball down the court, you haven't done. Therapy, no, I think consulting. All right. What would you like?
Can I ask you one question for advice? One last question for some advice pertaining to what you're saying.
Okay.
Because I just found your channel. That's why I even was
Go ahead.
Kind of. So you are an image consultant? Is that what you do?
Yes, but I also am a life coach and I also have an advice line. You can book a one-on-one session with me, yeah, but I don't do any matchmaking, anything like that. But I can help you with your overall image.
So here's my question, because I've actually had this discussion with friends too. So in your opinion, do you think it's better for people to get life coaches or go to therapists, like psychologists or counselors?
Both.
I don't know. At the same
time? Look, therapists help you with clinical issues. I don't know if you're clinically depressed, and I mean, you don't know either. Stop saying Stop it. You don't know. You just go find out what's going on with you. But life coaches and that kind of stuff, That's a completely different thing than clinical therapy. But what I will tell you, you got a lot of shit going on. It's exhausting.
I'm sorry.
But that's the point. You got to interact with other people. And see, one thing about only children, we tend to not learn how to play with others because we didn't have anybody. Only children's social skills tend to suck.
Can I ask how you learned? Did you...
H freaking Christ. Booty butt, shake a booty butt, shake a booty butt. Booty, 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 booty butt. Booty butt, shake a booty butt, shake a booty butt. Booty, 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 booty butt.
What did I tell you? Before I really give you something to cry about.
Woods, pretty face, but I'm known for hitting drugs. Yeah. Got him like, too good. To the yard, he ain't never leave his pretty on God. Bro, too good. Real boss, nigga got the woods, pretty face, but I'm known for hitting drugs. Yeah. Got him like, too good. To the yard, he ain't never leave his pretty on God. Bro, too good. Real boss, nigga got the good. Real boss, nigga